Right, it's time for another stock market astrology update and financial astrology update. The markets are really in a weird spot right now with a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainties at record levels. There's a lot of fear, both in the traditional markets and in the crypto digital asset markets as well. And there's a lunar eclipse, which a lot of people have been talking about, which just happened, which apparently, we have to understand what effect it's going to have. There's a lot of people who are afraid of this eclipse, who specifically called this out as a factor that's going to crash the market significantly and seriously. So that's a perfect time for us to bring some clarity into this confusion by applying the astrology and archetypal cosmology lens. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to, tell you from the archetypal perspective where we are right now, what's happening right now. 2, we're going to look at the next couple of weeks and months ahead and have an understanding of the types of energies that are coming and the market shifts that we can expect. And 3, I'm going to tell you more about the lunar eclipse. We're going to look at this a little bit more in detail and understand what this lunar eclipse that just happened, how it's going to affect the market going forward. And 4, as a bonus, I'm also going to give you some real special insights on 2 key stocks. One is Tesla and the second one is NVIDIA in this video. So let's go. All right, so a little recap. Let's start with a little recap. March is, as predicted, it's a time of confusion. I've been saying this in my videos, for weeks and months now, that March, with all of the Pisces energy, with the retrogrades that are starting, it was bound to bring a lot of confusion, a lot of, a lack of direction, a lack of conviction by the market players. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So if you have a look at the charts right now, you have this strong Piscean energy still in play with the Sun and North Node and Saturn in Pisces. And at the same time, you just had both Venus and Mercury go retrograde. Mercury just today, yesterday, just this weekend, basically going retrograde. And I'm sure you must have seen or felt it. I certainly did. I had my software breakdown, and I had, it was a mission to shoot this video, just the typical Mercury retrograde stuff that you have to count with. It's starting, it's happening, right? And with Venus retrograde in the mix as well, people are revisiting and their financial positions, and they're rethinking their financial positions. Venus also rules finances, obviously. So you get the Pisces, and Pisces season is always kind of weak, right? Market wise, it's always weak. There's just no conviction in the market, and it kind of more plays to the downside rather than upside because of the weakness that you're going to see generally in the market, in the convictions. And then you will throw these retrogrades in there as well, and obviously that's a recipe for a very confused and situation that we're in right now, right? And that's what happened actually already, with the Piscean energy getting strong in March. We saw the sell-offs, pretty big sell-offs in the risk assets, both the S&P 500 and crypto markets, right? So if you look at the markets, you can see they're basically pretty much correlated at this point, even though obviously that's not supposed to stay this way long term. We want to see a decoupling of Bitcoin from stocks, but that's not the case right now. Right now, you have a pretty much perfect correlation. And this is still February, which was optimistic. There was a lot of optimistic news with the new administration in Washington, but the markets didn't reflect that. There's other reasons for that, liquidity and so on and so forth, liquidity being sapped out of the market. And then once we go into March, we had this big sell-off, right? We had this huge sell-off pretty much simultaneously in the S&P 500 and in crypto as well, right? And now we're here in mid-March, and it looks like the S&P 500 has found a little bit of a bottom. And with crypto fared a little bit better comparatively. Didn't go all the way. Altcoins went almost to zero. Altcoins went bleeding horrifically. But Bitcoin has been holding up so far. Now, And now in this situation, this is when we had the eclipse, right? Lunar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse, people have a lot of ideas about this whole lunar eclipse is horrible when it hits this and when it hits that and so on. Really, the evidence is not that conclusive. People looked at, you can look at history of stock markets and try to find some correlations. Metaphysically, or in astrology really, lunar eclipse stands for the occultation or something getting weaker, whatever's getting hit, getting weaker. But that doesn't mean necessarily for markets that the market has to go down always, right? Because it could be that a bull trend gets weaker. We're not in a bull trend right now, obviously, right? We're in a bearish trend. It could be that the bearish trend gets weaker. That's what I meant, right? It could be that the bearish kind of energy gets weaker. That's possible too, right? And that obviously would mean a reversal. And that, this goes back to the theories of W.D. Gann, great kind of esoteric trader and astrological trader who developed these theories of eclipses. And I already said in previous videos that I'm expecting this particular lunar eclipse to be somewhat of a reversal and not a further sign of havoc to come for the markets, right? And I'm going to show you this. When you look at the chart of the eclipse, you have here pretty much, you can see this, the eclipse. This is the eclipse. And you have a Jupiter. The Jupiter is here in a sextile. You cannot see this perfectly, but with Venus and Mercury, and Uranus is in a very positive aspect with the eclipse itself. Uranus stands for technology and innovation, and it's positively aspected by the eclipse. This is overall more positive especially for innovation and tech and crypto, which is ruled by Uranus. And I'm expecting this eclipse to be pretty much close to a bottom, a local bottom, right? A local bottom is going to happen somewhere around this eclipse. And then we're going to see a reversal. So this is my expectation. Now, but what exactly does it mean? When exactly? How exactly? We need to look at the charts for the coming time to see what's coming next, right? So let's do that. Let's go and have a look at the energies as they are going to evolve over the next weeks, right? So we can understand, what do we expect? Is it going to happen right away? Is there going to be a larger sell-off? Is the bottom lower still, or are we already almost there? We need to look at the charts to understand the energy that's coming, right? So let's have a look at this. We have this energy constellating that we were talking about, and with the retrograde starting, and then you have from March 20th, you have the next big thing that happens. Sun goes into Aries. So more decisive energy is going to come, right? We're going to kind of break out of the little bit of the deadlock of like not knowing what's going to happen and so on. March 20th, right? With Sun going to Aries, going to get more action, more time for action, more time for making moves as opposed to just being confused like right now and being in fear. Now, is that something good? Is that necessarily for the better? Well, Sun is also here with Neptune. So this could be actually a last big sell-off, right? This could be a last big sell-off. It's just going through Neptune. Neptune is weakness for the Sun, is weakness for growth really as well. Sun is is growth, right? And that could be a last big sell-off around this time. But then after that, as we're kind of advancing further, Sun really firmly goes into Aries. And then after that, we have some really interesting stuff happening when starting from April 5th, 6th, Venus here starts to kind of stall, right? And then after a little bit in Pisces, and then a little bit after by April 13th, the same thing happens with Mercury. They're both stalling. They're both kind of going retrograde, and then they're stalling. They're starting to stand and stand still basically here. Okay, so they're both stalling. They're both standing still, and as they're standing still here, they're also forming a harmonious relation, a harmonious sextile to Uranus. You see, and then this same Uranus is also getting another harmonious sextile from Mars in this time, right? So in here, you see this here. So you have this talent triangle with Uranus up here and then Venus and Saturn and Mercury, everything is kind of forming this super harmonious form in April 6th to April 13th, right? So this is going to be, for me, I'm seeing this as the next step, right? So we're going March 20 to beginning of April, could be another little sell-off, right? But then going into April 6th to 13th, that looks like a time where, first of all, we're going to have more decisive action, and then things are sort of falling into place for a real consolidation of tech and innovation, right? A lot of things fall into place. Basically, the signature tells you that a lot of events are going to occur which fall into place with each other to make a very favorable climate and a very favorable development for tech and innovation, right? Tech innovation being Uranus, right? Ruled by Uranus, getting all of those harmonious aspects in April, right? So this tells me that April is going to get a lot of strength again for further upward movement of the bullish scenarios, right? That we have both for the S&P 500 and for crypto, for Bitcoin as well. I don't think there's going to be a decoupling yet. I spoke about decoupling for 2025. I'm not seeing that yet anytime so soon. There needs to be some more. A couple of things need to happen globally in the economy still before that, even to be possible. So that's what we're looking at for the energy of the times for the next few weeks, right? And then obviously this also makes sense from the perspective of global liquidity coming into the market, right? Because we know that, if you've been following a little bit the macro, then you know that liquidity is coming back into the market pretty hard right now. So, and liquidity, this is basically M2 and the Bitcoin price that you can see here. And there's been a very, very good correlation, which is pretty much, really on point for the last cycle and this cycle, that when liquidity surges, then with a 75-day lag, because it takes some time for that liquidity to go through the entire system and trickle down and then reach the wallets at the end of the day and the exchanges where people buy Bitcoin. But there is this really nice correlation. So when liquidity goes up, then Bitcoin goes up 75 days later. So you see this here, right? And same thing here. So liquidity goes up and Bitcoin goes up. And then now liquidity just went up, pretty massively over, the last couple of weeks and months. And now we should expect sometime around end of March, beginning of April, we should expect this to reach the markets. Really works out well with the charts that I showed you with April, with that phase when things fall into place, right? Because that's what astrology tells us as well, that in April, things fall into place and things go higher, right? So that's those are both from the macro indicators and from the astrology, we have some really good signs here that there's going to be still a few weeks of confusion and low conviction ahead of us, right? I'm recapping this right now, right? S&P 500 for me seems to have found the bottom already. Bitcoin so far held up better, but there's bears that are attacking right now Bitcoin. I know that people have been calling for mid 70s, and it's possible that with Sun going on Neptune, with that weakness in the next week or so, we do revisit that zone again. But after that, both S&P 500 and Bitcoin, we should be seeing much more strength going into April. That's what I'm seeing right now in the charts. All of this being said, this is no financial advice. This is educational and entertainment purposes. All of this I'm sharing with you, obviously. And make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. You're going to get all the astro and metaphysics and archetypal cosmology on the markets, on existence, on spiritual development, on all of that. If you can handle it, subscribe. Make sure to do that, right? And also like and comment on the video. It's really appreciated and very, very valuable that you do that, right? So now that being said, this is what we're expecting for yourself. Maybe if you have, this is personal level, on a personal level as well, in the weakness that's ahead for the next couple of weeks. Maybe don't make any big decisions, business decisions, unless it's really something very special for you that really makes sense for you. It's better to sit out the retrogrades, wait after the retrogrades, right? All right, now, as I said before, I have a special thing for you as well. Namely, we're going to look at NVIDIA NVIDIA and Tesla, right? Because those are two stocks that have been hammered and not been doing well at all. And we can use astrology to understand what's happening here, right? And we can get some really interesting insights. So first one I'm going to start with is NVIDIA. And NVIDIA, if you see here, we have the chart here of NVIDIA. And I'm going to go back to January 17, 27. This is January 27. This is when DeepSeek launched the R1 model, the model that basically crashed. Not just NVIDIA lost $600 billion, but it was a huge crash. It was the largest, single day sell-off, I think, for any stock, for any tech stock, certainly. And you have here Mars in a direct opposition to Uranus. You can see this here. And Uranus, this is a longer term transit, in opposition to Pluto, right? Uranus is obviously innovation. And Mars and Pluto they stand for aggression and war, right? So you can see here the signature super clear, like aggressive innovation, war of innovation is attacking you, right? The Chinese, with DeepSeek, they literally attack and destroyed $600 billion of market cap here of NVIDIA in that day, right? And in the following days. And the archetypal signature is super clear, right? And then as you go ahead, as things continue, you have first Neptune, and then gradually more and more you have Saturn coming here into this conjunction, Saturn-Neptune conjunction. You can see this here. And they're going to be here for the majority of the year, right? For the rest of the year, like they're going to be, especially in summer, they're going to be strong and then going back and forth. And all of this, as they're there, they're going to be exactly hitting NVIDIA's Jupiter-Venus opposition. You see they have a Jupiter-Venus, which means expansion of value, and that's getting hit by this Saturn and Neptune. Saturn-Neptune is the dissolution or the bursting of bubbles. Bursting of bubbles is hitting NVIDIA's Jupiter-Venus. Jupiter-Venus is expansive value, huge expansion of value, maybe overexpanded, definitely overexpanded in some ways with the value, where is all of this massive where is all of this massive value? And that's going to get the bubble, that bubble is going to burst a little bit in an ongoing way for the year, right? The Saturn, Neptune will be sitting there for the year, actually all into 26. So my verdict here, even though when you look at Jensen Huang, he has some good times coming up. He's going to be able to maneuver this. But my verdict here is that NVIDIA is going to struggle, right? And this could be around tariffs. China could have more competition. There could be more things launched. The Chinese are launching like crazy, right? In the AI space right now. They're really, really strong in the AI space. And obviously NVIDIA is taking the hit there. It could be around Taiwan and China, hostilities with the US. Anything that happens in that region, around China and Taiwan is bad for NVIDIA, right? And this is what it looks like to me. So outlook is not rosy for 25, 26. Now the next one, Tesla. Tesla has been having a really hard time with, especially with people going into stores, attacking the Tesla stores and the cars and stuff. And mostly it's because of the political opposition, right? Some people, a large portion of mostly liberals, right? Obviously liberals, not just in the U.S., in Europe, there's Europeans even much more so than in the U.S. They have a problem, obviously, with Elon Musk being very, very vocal and very open. What Elon Musk is doing with Doge and with MAGA and all of that. That's been an issue, and this has been crashing the price, the stock market price, right, for the stock value, right, for Tesla. And we can see this as well. It's pretty clear in the astrology. If you look in astrology, currently Tesla has, here this is Tesla Motors, and you have currently a opposition of Pluto is directly opposite the moon, right? So this is basically powerful opposition from the people, right? The populace, powerful opposition from the people. This is currently going on. And then as things progress, and also, we should look at Elon Musk's chart as well, because obviously Tesla is his baby in addition to the 14 or 15 other babies that he has. Tesla is kind of his main project, much more so than the other companies. And when you look at the chart, you can, this is Elon Musk's chart, you can see this as well. He has currently the Saturn is going through his 8th house, which is money problems with the money of others, the resources of others, shares. Obviously, shares is a type of resources of others in the 8th house thing. And this is happening right now still, and it's going to go on for some time. But then you get here this resolution where Saturn comes into the 9th house and starts to oppose Pluto, actually. So over the next couple of months, there should be some strong opposition in April and May from abroad for Elon Musk. Europe, think about it. Europe, the Europeans are going to, get really tough with him. But at the same time, you got Jupiter going on his Venus, right? Jupiter, and this is sextile, this is trine his Mars. So he's going to make some really big deals, right? In April and going forward, April, May, he's going to make some really big and very, very deals that are going to be very good for his wealth, right? Really powerful deals that will be really good for his wealth in April and May. And at the same time, you see this similar thing happening with Tesla. So Tesla, you see here, is going to have a similar activation with Jupiter going here on, you see this here, I'm not going to, drag this out too much, but Jupiter is going to go over the next weeks and months. It's going to be hitting the first of Venus and then the sun of Tesla Motors, right? And similar thing, basically both of them have a very similar chart, actually. You can see this here. This is clear that, as I've been saying, Elon Musk and Tesla are so close to each other that even their charts are similar, like with the Cancer energy and then Venus and Venus conjunct Venus. So super aligned. The well-being and the development of Tesla and of Elon Musk, super aligned, right? And as I just showed you, so there's going to be some backlash, further backlash, especially from abroad for Tesla Motors, for Elon Musk. But around April, May, this looks to me like a real resolution. It's going to resolve, and he's going to make some really big moves and really big deals that bringing massive new value for the company. Obviously, this could be the robo-taxi that they're launching. I think in June, they're going to be launching the cyber taxi, which is completely new. It could be Optimus, the robot, right? The robot, Tesla bot that they're launching. And other, I don't know, autonomous driving that he's working on, right? So put these things together. And my verdict here is that I'm going to be super long on Tesla. This might be like a generational opportunity. This recent drop might be a generational opportunity to get back into Tesla. Like, I would be super long on Tesla if you look at this, when you look at this. None of what I said in here is financial advice. It's all for educational purposes, so you understand how the cycles work. You need to make your own decisions based on your own research. But if you want to have a look at your own charts to understand what's awaiting you and which cycles you have to maneuver and play with, you can work with me. You can find the links below for consultations where we can get really deep into optimizing your process and your progress. And I'm going to leave it at this. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this and how you're going to be making moves and how you prepare for this coming time, how you're going to be playing this market. And I see you at the next one. Be well, be blessed.